Welcome back to Edge Road, presented by FanDuel as part of the Hammer Betting Network. I am Alex Moretto, joined here today by So Money Sports to break down the weekend, talk about tonight's games, maybe reflect on the current state of the Eastern and Western Conference playoff wildcard pictures. A lot of stuff we can get to today for sure. Before we do, Puckheads, the NHL playoffs are right around the corner, and FanDuel is bringing you the best bets on the ice. Get in the lab when you make your same-game parlay by checking out FanDuel's player performance pages that track stats and averages all of your favorite players. Once you know who's cooking, add shots on goal, points, assists, or even goalie saves to your SGP. Miss puck drop, you can still tap in with live same-game parlay and period-specific player props. Right now, new customers can kick off the season with $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just place any $5 bet, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download FanDuel Sportsbook and make every moment more. Please play responsibly. Must be 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in DC, or 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-866-531-2600 or visit connexontario.ca. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right. Yeah, a lot of stuff happening right now. Goaltending-wise, I see it in the chat here. That is significant for sure. Not significant in a good way. It seems like there's some panic maybe going on in Columbus. I do want to talk slightly about the Eastern Conference playoff race. Now, if I was Albert, I'd probably come in here victory lapping nothing. There's nothing to victory lap. In terms of, well, I'm saying as a Habs fan, like if I were him, if this is the Rangers in the Habs position, I'd be come in here and like, look at this, okay. Beat the Panthers, look at the position we find ourselves in. There's ups and downs in this race. The schedule gets pretty tough this week for Montreal too. Definitely like the position they're in right now, with the Rangers losing in regulation last night. They basically control their own destiny at this point here. 1 point back of a playoff spot, but 2 games in hand over the Rangers. Columbus is free falling. Detroit, I still don't really buy into. It looks like they are very much. It is there for the taking. I want to hear your thoughts on this, because I'm going to stay very neutral, very level-headed. There's nothing right now to celebrate, because there isn't anything to celebrate right now, aside from the fact that we should be playing at least meaningful games into April, which is a refreshing change of pace for the first time in a while. But where's your head at with this race right now, and how it's kind of unfolded over the last week?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts haven't changed. It's a race of runs. Whoever goes on their last run is going to make the playoffs. And we've touched on this many times. All of these teams are the same, right? Their records are similar. Their point totals at this point in the season, it's all the same. And it's like that for a reason, because all these teams are similar. They're going to go on runs of good streaks and bad streaks, and we're seeing that. We saw a good streak from Columbus. They're on a bad run right now. We saw a bad run from Detroit, a good one, right? So, I mean, it's going to go back and forth. Montreal's on a good run right now, and it's just a matter of how long they can sustain this, and if they can get into a playoff position and hang on long enough while the other teams around them go on their runs. So it's all a coin flip. I mean, Montreal's schedule is tough. At some point, I would assume that Columbus starts slowly turning it around as well, but they don't have an easy schedule either. Yeah. Detroit is going to start winning again, right? We saw a good effort from them over the weekend, albeit against a self-admittedly tired Vegas team. By the way, that interview on the bench by Bruce Cassidy was just outstanding. It was the honesty and transparency. I'd love that kind of stuff, right? And it goes to show that end of road trips, it does matter. Back-to-back day games, it does matter a lot for Western teams. So I mean, things you can you can just put away in the back of your mind when you move forward. But yeah, back to the Eastern race, it's just a coin flip. I mean, who's going to go on the last run here?
Yeah. Schedule wise, things have broken kind of nicely for Montreal. If you look at remaining strength of schedule, they have it a lot easier compared to some of the other teams. But again, I do expect a dip to come here soon. Just a matter of when it hits and how much can they like play through those games and that dip and still manage to get results or pick up some points. Maybe Montembeau seals one or whatever. That's basically what you have to do down the stretch. My money's still on the Rangers to make it. Ultimately, I don't think they're in the best spot right now. Schedule is tough, but like they have the luxury of we can have some bad games and Shesterkin can just completely go out there and steal us points that we don't deserve. And I think that could be the difference. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully not. I'm cautiously optimistic for the first time in a long time. Very cautiously optimistic. And yet Habs play the Sens tomorrow. God, thankfully I'm actually going to miss that game. I have my own playoff game tomorrow night. So I don't want to watch a Sens game. I want to, last time we played the Sens, we beat the wheels off them first game back from the Four Nations. I just want that to be the last thing I remember about Habs Sens for a little while. And they're rolling right now, so I don't need that in my life. Let's get into tonight. I see the chat going on about a lot of stuff that's happening here. I do want to get to all this stuff. It's not the first game on the board. It wasn't where I was going to start, but let's start with this Columbus game because we do have the Jet Greaves confirmation. So let's go here to the Jackets taking on the Devils. Jackets plus 114, New Jersey minus 137, total of 6.5, minus 128 to the under, plus 102 to the over. How are you reacting to this Jet Greaves news that we had just had dropped on us here?
Yeah, so Merzlikins, it looks like he is out for personal reasons. Temporarily, we don't know what's going on. So then your options are you're either starting Tarasov or you're starting Jet Greaves, right? If they are starting Jet Greaves, I don't really have a problem with it. If in fact Merzlikins is out, there you go, Charles having a kid. Yeah, I mean, like that's like, what can you do, right? Like he's not.
Playoff.
I mean, like he's not. If he's not available to play, he's not available to play, right? So like, who's going to start in goal, right? And you could start Tarasov. He hasn't been terrible, but he does show. Like I mean, he did show it in that Rangers game on Saturday that he's still prone to some blow-ups, right? And he wasn't good in that game. I thought that that was the game that was right there for Columbus if they got half-decent goaltending, and they just didn't, right? So you're at a situation now where you just can't afford the blow-ups. So if you're going with Jet Greaves, who at best is probably an average NHL goaltender, so like on his ceiling, you're getting average goaltending at this point. What is the difference between having a ceiling of an average goaltender with probably a higher floor as opposed to a guy who's going to blow up for you who can possibly blow up for you in a big game, right? Like that was really telling the way he played on Saturday. It was a big game that the team needed, and he just wasn't there. So how much, I always ask this, right? Whenever a guy goes down and like the next guy is up, how much worse is he going to be than what your option was? And I don't think that Jet Greaves is going to be that much worse than what Tarasov is potentially giving them. I did play the under in this game. Yeah. I still do like the under. Columbus's offense has dried up, not in terms of chance generation because that's still there, but their conversion has dried up, and I think that a couple of weeks ago, I think you called it and you touched on it, where you said that their shooting percentage in that period of time was insanely high, right? And it's coming back down to earth now, so it shouldn't come as a surprise. The Devils looked like shit on the weekend, right? Against the Penguins, but I'm not going to come too hard on them because it is just one game and they didn't get the goaltending. So I would expect the Devils team to respond, and the way that the Devils can respond would be defensively. So if Columbus can't convert, if the Devils want to respond defensively and both teams are okay, as we've seen Columbus be okay, playing a playing a defensive style, then I think that the under 6 is where it's
Yeah.
going to be right now.
And I want to, I completely agree. I am on this under as well. I want to just quickly say that if you go to show sponsor FanDuel right now, not only can you get 6.5 minus 120 on the under, which is definitely the best price in market, as the over takes the money at FanDuel and FanDuel only currently. That 6.5 minus 120 is great. And if you, depending on what your limits are there and whatnot, you can kind of double up a little bit. There's under 6 if you go to game props, flat lines, under 6 plus 108. So obviously way off market on both of those at show sponsor FanDuel. I would definitely recommend getting over there right now if you have an account. If you don't have an account, I would recommend definitely having a FanDuel account. Obviously, that should be one of the staples in your repertoire, assuming they are available in your state or province. But yeah, under 6.5 minus 120 or under 6 flat line plus 108, both fantastic looks right now. You're not going to get anything close to that anywhere else in the market right now, no matter where you look. So yeah, I will add on to that. Just, I mean, so many touched on it very well. Like it was just the other night when these two teams played, it was just kind of a bad night for both goalies. Elvis and Markstrom combined for like minus 3.5 goals saved above expected. That it was just not what you'd expect from them. Greaves, honestly, just quickly going through, obviously I was not expecting him to start here, but just going through his recent results, he's been on a tear in the AHL lately. He's really seen the puck. Obviously, the fact that they're calling him up to start with Elvis gone shows the confidence they kind of have in him and the lack of confidence they probably have in Tarasov, but he has been playing well, so it doesn't scare me off of this total. Yeah, I think I talked about, Jackets and their shooting percentage and how high that was. That was always going to come down. They're not generating either right now too. And when they are generating, they're just not scoring because that shooting percentage was insane. The natural regression that's going on there. They're playing good team defense, very low event games. Devils have obviously been very strong defensively as they kind of lean into that side with the injuries that they have. I would expect a tight sort of playoff atmosphere here, kind of a must win for Columbus. One of those games you're holding the stakes a little tighter, focusing on the little things. Definitely an emphasis on defense from both teams in a game of this significance and a little narrative-y here, but it's one of those games where, like, obviously the Devils aren't like fully in the playoffs yet. And like Columbus just really needs something positive to build off. It's one of those games where you can see if it's tight in the third period, both teams just kind of settling for a point and being like, all right, you know what, let's just get this into overtime. And then at least we got a point and kind of go from there. So that kind of plays into it a little bit as well. But yeah, I really do like the under here. And again, that those FanDuel numbers are wild. Very, very good FanDuel numbers right now. So we can go ahead and lock that in for the first bet of the night, as we then will move on to the next game we have here, which is Philly and Tampa. The Lightning minus 275 at home to Philly, plus 220, total of 5.5, minus 120 to the over, minus 102 to the under. So money. Do you have anything for us in this one, as we see now the 6.5 on FanDuel move to minus 118?
There you go. No, nothing in this game. Yeah, Philly looks like they've packed it in. They did look good against Tampa Bay last week in that 4-3 shootout win. That was a good game that they played, but for the most part, it looks like that Philly has hit the wall and they're pretty much done at this point. We have the Vasilevsky confirmation, which should be expected, but yeah, nothing here for me. Slight lean on the under. I thought that they did play more of a defensive game last time they played, and the fourth and the 7 goals or the 4-3 final was not indicative of the way that game was played. But I also think that we've adjusted down from the 6 to the 5.5 already in this game, which all Flyers games right now should be 5.5s. But
Yeah.
I think we've already made that adjustment there, so I will end up passing on this game.
Yeah. So I do agree that I lean kind of strongly to the under in this one, but it's just not at a price where I'm kind of down to play it. I thought maybe we'd get a bit of a better number. Not quite seeing it. I still lean that way in terms of don't think we're going to see too many goals here, but price is kind of expecting the same thing as well. So I do think, just to comment on the other night where that Tampa game, That felt like a bit of a get right game for them, where it's kind of weird where they go ahead and make that trade for Gordon Bjorkstrand, and then the first game that they play, Hedman goes out in like 2 minutes into the game. He gets hurt. He finally comes back the night that Kucherov is sick and out of the lineup. It's like they haven't been able to like integrate and kind of get everything rolling. They finally had everyone back and Vasilevsky starting on Saturday, and it felt like Cooper said they played desperate. It looked like they did, and they played maybe one of their best games of the season. That second period, I don't know if you saw what happened in that second period at all, but they outshot the Bruins 21-0 and outscored them 3-0 at 5-on-5. Just like an insanely dominant period, probably the best period we'll see from any team all season. Definitely felt like it's the type of game that kind of gets them back on track here. So we'll see. Something to monitor going forward, as they're now right back within striking distance of Florida for top spot in the Atlantic. Those division futures are very, very live again here. As we are very much back. Florida losing in regulation last night was significant. Off a goal from future Habs defenseman Noah Dobson. But yeah, nothing for me in this game either. So we will skip ahead here to the Bruins and the Sabres. Bruins and Sabres both minus 110, total of 5.5, minus 130 to the over, plus 106 to the under. Ton of Sabres money came in this morning in like the 30 minutes, 20 minutes, even leading up to the show here. You were getting up to like plus 110 on the Sabres, and that is very much not the case now, as this game has been moved to a pick'em across the board. Were you part of that Sabres money? Are you buying back against it now, or are you sitting this one out? What are you kind of looking at here?
I was part of that Sabres money. I thought that we just had to move on it early. It was one of those things where it was mispriced in the market. Boston, they've looked after a couple of wins against Tampa Bay and Florida. They just haven't looked great against Ottawa and against Tampa Bay, and they could be headed towards a like the rest of the season where they're just calling it, right. So if that is the case, it's something that I wanted to get ahead of. I have called Boston dead before, so I am a little bit hesitant to be so definitive in that. But if it is happening, then I just want to get in front of the pricing for it. Buffalo, they looked well. They played well against Vegas. It's just about the price. I thought that if Boston's packing it in, then I just want to get in front of it.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I definitely can't advocate for a Sabres bet at this point. The other thing is, like, you kind of want to monitor. It's possible that there's buyback at some point, especially if we don't get good news on Norris and Peterka. I kind of don't expect either of them to play, just based like on Lindy's comments. He said that Norris would travel with the team for this road trip and might be available pending treatment. So we'll see. And then Peterka, he said, could play tonight, but that also feels like a stretch just based on the fact that he still hasn't returned to practice yet. So I don't know. So we'll see what happens with those two guys. I feel like that's obviously pretty significant. I do agree that Buffalo is definitely the right side at those earlier prices. But yeah, injuries definitely something to monitor here. Hard to kind of know what type of response you're going to get from Boston too after that miserable game the other night. Are they going to like kind of produce something, or are they just going to lay down and call it a season? It's really hard with some of these teams to know what to expect from them game to game down the stretch. I do like the Sabres team. I do think they're very, very live. But on the road, they lay eggs so often too. So yeah, at current, nothing for me here. Just going to sit this one out. I guess so many. If there's some buyback on Boston, what price would you say that you'd go back in on Buffalo? If people are watching this and they want to join you on the Sabres, assuming you definitely have no interest at this number, what's the kind of like price where you suggest people can buy back in here?
Anything plus money on the Sabres is good.
Anything plus money. Okay. Yeah, I think it's possible. It's very possible we'll see that again. So something to definitely monitor going forward here. We will move on to the Flames and the Leafs. Leafs minus 215, Flames plus 176, total of 5.5, minus 122 to the over, plus 100 to the Under. I have been talking about the Flames drop off for what feels like forever, and maybe this is just a temporary dip rather than fully just like dropping off here. But 7 games in March, they have a 38% expected goal share at 5-on-5, and that is an arbitrary cutoff, small sample size, but like that just goes to show they are on a terrible, terrible run in their 7 games in March. 38% is a miserably low figure. Next worst is 43%, and you have 3 teams around that mark, the Leafs being one of them. So obviously both these teams are really, really fighting it right now, really going through it. Don't have much of an appetite to back either. Definitely don't want to lay it with the Leafs at this number. But like I'm not seeing anything from the Flames that makes me want to get on them either. What I do see here is 2 teams that are really struggling to generate offense and getting very good goaltending. Maybe the team defense hasn't exactly been where it's been at a lot of points this season for them, but I do trust the goaltenders on both of these teams. It's very possible we get Vladar here after Wolf started the last 3. It is the first of a back-to-back, though, so we'll see. I think it's kind of a toss-up as to who goes, but Vladar's been very good lately, too. And the Leafs are just not scoring. Calgary's not scoring, not generating anything. This is too good of a goaltending matchup. I just want to make sure actually the prices. Yeah, we still are getting plus money, 5.5 on these unders. There's minus 126s, which are available too. You can kind of pick your poison there. I think both of those are good. I just don't see really where goals come from in this game. I do like this under, and yeah, I am on the under tonight. So Money, how about yourself?
I agree with the under. It got away a bit from me there. I would have liked
Yeah.
I would have liked a 6. Yeah, if we can get a 6 up to minus 120, I would join you. Plus
There's a
money
few
5.
books that still have 6, like at least 3 or 4 books, which I would consider widely available to have 6 minus 120. So
Yeah. So I mean, like, then it's up to you. Like we can go 6 minus 120, or we can go 5.5 if we can. What
plus
what's the
105.
5.5 plus money? Sorry, plus
Plus
105.
105 is yeah, best I'm seeing
Yeah.
on that.
Okay. That's fine.
I'm game for either. I mean, we got burned the other. We got wrongfully lost that Flames Avs under on Friday night, and that empty netter, and those late goals to like make it a close game, and then the empty netter. So like maybe getting the insurance on the 6 just for the PTSD isn't the worst thing in the world here either.
Yeah, and also I mean it's not confirmed yet that Wolf will start either.
No, it's not.
He did start 4 straight in early February, and he's at 3 right now. So it's not impossible.
And they play again
that he'll
tomorrow,
start.
so
Yeah,
I mean, he's going to start one of these anyway. So I mean, why not start him in the first half of a back-to-back, right?
totally. Yeah. So I'm like, I think we can assume that it is going to be Wolf, but just something to keep in mind there. I just wonder if Zach's even gotten out of bed this morning. He was in a rough spot on the weekend with the
I know
Leafs.
we're seeing no messages from him in the chat here.
Yeah, I hope he's I hope he's okay. The last message I got from him was interesting fuck the Canucks message on the group chat on Saturday. So yeah, hopefully he's doing okay. It is rough times for the Leafs right now. Yeah, I just every time you think that maybe, just maybe, this year might be different for the Leafs, they just do what they did on Saturday. So yeah, but I like the under here. It's tough to envision any goals coming from either of these teams right now.
Yeah. Okay, so we will go ahead and lock that in. I think the producer here locked in 5.5, which is fine. Whatever. 6 goals are definitely confirmed now, though, so it is what it is. That's just how it goes. One more game to get to tonight. We have the Kings and the Wild. Kings minus 152, Wild plus 126. Kings all of a sudden very live for the division as well here, as Vegas keeps losing and the Kings keep winning. They are very much within striking distance with some games in hand. Total of 5.5, plus 118 to the over, minus 144 to the under, as the under has gotten absolutely blasted all morning. Are you a part of this under, Money? Do you agree with how far it's gone? Are you going to go the other way? Like, I guess it hasn't even really run that much. It's just kind of opened in an insane range to begin with. Just wild. Yeah. Are you in agreement with how heavily juiced this 5.5 is?
it makes sense. I just think that that Minnesota is not only are they not scoring, they're also starting to bleed chances as well,
Yeah.
right? And I think that um, I it's no secret I'm not a fan of this Wild team right now, right? And I think that if the Kings were just a little bit cheaper in the mid minus 130s, this is a game that I would be on. Even low minus 140s would be fine, but I think that excuse me, I think we've run a little bit too much here. So I will pass on this game, but unless if it gets cheaper. But I do like the Kings here, and I think that the struggles for the Wild are gonna continue. And again, I keep harping on this. It's not impossible that the Wild could miss the playoffs here. We're seeing Utah and St. Louis are coming. I don't think that I don't think that either of these teams are going to fall off. I expect Calgary to fall off a little bit more, and the Canucks are a coin flip. Just let's not get into that. But I think that the Wild are very live to miss the playoffs here.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to throw a little bet in here. Yeah, I think they definitely are as well. In terms of you talked about the defense starting to leak chances. They are, and it's so hard to play at the level they've been at defensively and like keep that up when you just are getting nothing on offense. It's just so disheartening. It's discouraging. You're almost forced to like bend a little bit and stray from that defensive approach just to try and generate offense and start activating defensemen, getting guys forward. It is really, really, really tough to keep up that level when you're not getting the goals. So I do think that there is a little bit of value in this over. That being said, like I need to see them actually start scoring before I can actually bet it. So definitely no interest in the under. I would lean towards the over here. Yeah, the number is big on the Wild, but this team does feel very dead to me. I see Jin Rummy in the chat saying taking a chance of the Wild. I get it, like from a numbers perspective, but like totally understand that. But you know, there's this point in the season, I feel like you got to start factoring in other things too. And the Wild do kind of look dead right now. They look discouraged. It's just not been pretty. So kind of a little bit scared to step in, even though the number seems decent. So nothing for me in this game. We will leave it at that. For tonight, we have I think just the two best bets locked in here as I pull up the thing that we have tracked. Yeah, we have the under 6.5 minus 120 between the Devils and the Jackets, and the under 5.5 plus 105 Flames and Leafs. Just the two best bets for tonight. Yeah.
Just to address Charles' comment there about Kaprizov. So he went for surgery in late January, and then they were saying that he was supposed to be out minimum of 4 weeks. As of end of February, so last week of February, Bill Guerin said that he's going to be out longer than expected, right? So now, when you hear something like that, my first thought is that he's going to miss the rest of the season, right? I mean, usually when that kind of stuff comes down, now he could be back within a couple of weeks left in the season, but if they're really out of the playoff picture, or if they're struggling, they're not going to bring him back, right? So there is some concern in terms of my bet on the Wild to miss the playoffs. But because Kaprizov is the engine of that team, right? But I just don't think that there's any rush at this point to be bringing him back in order to just make the playoffs.
I don't think they're gonna ever get to a point though where they're too far out of it to bring him back.
Yeah,
you know what I
totally.
mean? They still have too much of a cushion, but it sounds like Brodin, Eriksson Ek, like these guys are not close. It doesn't sound like Russo wrote an article about how Wild are struggling and reinforcements aren't coming anytime soon. So like it does not sound like any of these guys are close. It's ugly.
But what I'm saying is that like even if they're around the playoff spot and they're like 2 to 3 points in or out, I don't think that I don't think that they're going to they're going to put him in just in order to just make the playoffs.
Right. Yeah, you got to think long term here and all that sort of stuff for sure. Okay, let's throw together a quick goal scorer parlay. If anyone has any they want in the chat, throw them in here. There was someone I just want to pull up a price here first. We get the lines up here. The Lightning changed up their lines, and they looked really good the other night. And now you've got Cirelli and Hagel out there playing with Kucherov. And I wanted to get a Hagel goal locked in today for us. Plus 200, best price in market at FanDuel. You good with Hagel?
Good with Hagel, yep.
Good with Hagel. All right, let's do Hagel. We have Phil Deneau suggestion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, let's put Deneau in there. Darlene. 430.
I'm okay with it, but yeah, I think it's fine.
Jordan seconds Deneau, so we got Deneau in there. We also have a Tage suggestion from that game. You want to do Tage instead?
Yeah, I like that better actually.
Let's do Tage. So we'll go Tage, Hagel, and Deneau. And then do you want to add one more? No, leave it. We got a Brat suggestion, but I think we're on the under there. I don't know. What do you think? We got two Brats. Honestly, we have Ron and Charles both saying Brat.
Yeah, let's do it then. Yeah,
out of respect, we will add them in.
Yeah, if they're both on it, then let's do it.
All right, we'll add Brad in there. There we go. There's the parlay for tonight. Hagel, Deneau, Tage Thompson, Jesper Bratt, 136-1. That is tonight's anytime goal parlay. I did not put a no goal parlay together for today. My apologies. I will have one for tomorrow. We have a ton of games, so I'll definitely get one in there. That's it. That'll do it for today. Just the two best bets, the under in the Leafs game and the under in the Devils Jackets game. And then you can keep an eye on these Sabres prices. If you can get plus money again, then you can hop back in on the Sabres. That'll do it for us today. We have a 10:30 a.m. show again tomorrow. We will be back, myself and So Money. Until then, everyone enjoy the games tonight and good luck on your bets.